Hey guys, we just landed here in Seattle, Washington, our beautiful North Point, Washington facility. First of all, we just want to say thanks for joining us on this journey. Anything you want to say real quick, Big John?
Appreciate the support, and we got a lot of great episodes coming your way, so be sure to check them out, show us some love on all the different media platforms, YouTube, podcasts, all that good stuff.
Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes.
Absolutely.
Next few episodes are going to be showcasing our amazing North Point, Washington staff, as well as some of the alumni that have graduated from this facility, as well as North Point, Idaho, that live in the Washington State area.
Yeah, it's going to be a real good time,
guys. Welcome to No Way But North, where we talk about the miracles of recovery and the tools used to achieve them. My name is Cooper Lyons. My clean date is November 27th, 2010. And as always, I'm joined by Big John Meldrum.
I'm screwing with my mic because my mic is like loose.
You got it?
I think so.
Looks good.
Does it? Do I look good?
Always.
I'm trying.
I'm going to start trying to be nicer instead of giving you a bunch of crap all the time.
You should.
Listen,
I know I hold this big hard shell,
but you're
sensitive. I'm a small
guy.
Child inside.
I don't think anything about you is small or tiny.
You said it.
How tall are you, John?
6'5", 325 pounds.
Dang. Well, and you lost weight because you were at like 360.
I was like 380.
God dang.
Like, you were showing me that video the other day of me dancing in your office.
With the elf hat on?
Yeah.
I'll show you when we're done. It's hilarious.
I look like this just like, I was like, geez. Because like I look in the mirror and I'm like, damn, I look pretty good for a big dude. But I'm like, I see videos, I'm like, damn, I look pretty bad for a big dude. But like now I'm like, oh, I look good all the time.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a little, so I went to the movies last night. I went and saw this movie. I'm not going to shout it out or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know if we have the copyright ability to
But it was a really good Will Smith movie that's out right now. And I get to the movie theater, and there's like this $21 pretzel.
It's a foot by foot one.
It's a foot by foot Bavarian pretzel. And so naturally, I'm like...
Did you share it with your friend?
No.
Of course not.
Naturally, I'm like, I want to get this. And I got it, and it was like the whole like pretzel was like that thick around.
Show the cameras.
Like that thick around. And big old pretzel. And I ate the whole thing before the movie started, so I just sat there. And I was like, ugh. So I got a bread baby.
Probably like 3 packets of that nacho pretzel cheese.
How'd you know?
Yeah.
Not to mention the amount of salt on it.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just say,
large soda too.
don't act like you know me. But let's just say, like, I'm a little dehydrated. I've got way too many carbs in me right now, and I feel like I have a bread baby in my stomach.
That's all right. All you got to do is sit there, look pretty, and talk.
I know.
That's what you're good at.
But I'm here. Like, I got my man Rusty. I'm so excited.
I like how we've turned at the start of every episode in just like a John update.
I mean, people want to know.
I guess you're right. Guys, we are here still in Washington, our beautiful Washington facility, interviewing a bunch of our awesome Washington alumni. Rusty is a North Point, Idaho alumni that came back up to Washington.
Whoop, whoop, NPR ID.
And it's always, like I said in a couple of the other interviews, I'm always super impressed with the people that graduate in a different state and come back away from that support system, and they still do the work and they still stay sober. You're coming up on a year?
10 months on the 15th of October.
Nice, that's right, because you went to treatment with Alejandro, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so we interviewed him yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, he's doing really well. I remembered that you guys had went through North Point together. So.
They came in. That was when I was transitioning.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, were you his counselor?
No, I was not Rusty's counselor.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a bet, me and Ollie, that I could smoke him down the mountain. Being 20 years older than him, but he said there's no way. But we're gonna live up to that.
Yeah, on your guys' year,
we're gonna do it.
The week of your guys' year birthday, you got to go up.
Yes, we do.
Test that.
I'm good on all that.
Yeah, your knees, you can't do it.
I could barely do the haunted world last night. When we were bending down and like crouching.
You can't walk downstairs.
I can't. Shut up.
All right, guys. So the quote, we're just going to read a quote, and we usually Trying to talk about what we think of, what it means to us when we hear that quote. So we'll start and we'll finish with you. Sound like a plan?
Yeah, sure.
All right. The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. Another Winston Churchill quote. So when I hear that, I just think about, I'm using my past to help other people. My addiction journey, my recovery journey. I could really see this as a difficulty, and I could have just said, "Fuck it, that's who I am. I'm going to keep using. I'm going to keep going through and just doing this, going through hell, right, and persevere through the hell and not look to get out." But instead, right, I was able to see that opportunity. I'm able to take that hindrance that happened to me in my life and those bad decisions that I made. I'm able to use that as an opportunity, and I built a career on it. I built opportunities to help other people, things like that. So that's kind of what came to my mind. What you got, Big John? I got to read it twice, of course. The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty.
I feel like this quote is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like that opportunity. You could find the shit in any opportunity or in any situation. You can find just the shit, and you can look at the negative. But if you want to get through it, you want to make it to the other side, you have to look at our experiences that we've been through and be able to pull the positive. Like, yeah, I was addicted to meth. Yeah, I was doing this. But now that I'm in recovery, look what I had to go through to get where I'm at now. Yeah. Boom.
Got anything to add?
I would say that's pretty self-explanatory. I would say enlightenment comes from the darkness. Ooh. You know what I mean?
All right, Socrates.
Hey, no, I'm just saying that.
Was that a Rusty quote?
Yeah, it was.
Write that shit down.
When it gets bad enough, you want to do better. When you're in the middle of drinking and using, it's like, I don't know. It's just depressing. You're negative about everything. I don't know, when it gets bad enough and you want to make a change, things will get better.
Dude, I love that. That's great. I think that's going to be the name of the episode. Enlightenment comes
from the darkness.
From the dark.
The Rusty T story.
The Rusty T. That's going to be the name of his documentary.
Yeah. When you do that, The Rock plays me. The Rock is the counselor in your life story. Okay?
You have to put
all right.
All right, guys. So we're just going to go through Rusty's story. First of all, man, thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to be on camera, taking your time out of a Sunday to come sit down with us. We really, really appreciate it. It means a lot to us.
Definitely.
And we're hoping that your story will be able to help somebody that, sees this on YouTube or wherever else they might be listening. So we're just going to kind of jump into your story and just start with your childhood. What was your relationship like with your parents, siblings, friends? Was there any kind of traumatic events that happened? What was your childhood like?
My childhood was good. My mom, she was home all the time with us. I had two sisters. She did everything for us. I mean, let me put it this way. When I was 18 and moved out on my own, I didn't even know how to do a load of laundry.
It's a good mom right there.
She did everything for all of us,
Nice.
And my dad, he worked 3 jobs, so he was gone most of the time,
Yeah.
And then at night he would go out and he was also a pool shark,
Oh, wow.
So he would go out at night and he'd play in meat shoots at the taverns and stuff, and he always won. He always came home with like 30. Back then, I was born in '70, so it was in the '70s. He would come home with like $35 worth of steaks he won, and he did it all the time.
Wait, steaks?
Steaks, like
dinner?
meat from the butcher. So he was always out. He was
Hustling.
He was hustling, and it was just mostly, my memories are just me and my sisters at home with my mom. I heard my mom say a lot, "Do you have to go out tonight?" And but other than that, we never went without.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, my parenting skills, I can't really say that I did a better job.
Well, you're working on it now, right? I know
am.
you spend a ton of time with your kids, and you have like 4 kids, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. How many sisters did you have?
I have 2 sisters.
2 sisters. And
Yeah.
did you grow up here in Seattle area?
Yes.
Okay.
I grew up in North Seattle, and then when I was in 7th grade, I moved to Edmonds. So,
Okay.
and I've been there ever since.
Okay, very nice.
So this is local for you.
It is.
There you go.
And then, so what was it like going through school? Did you have a lot of friends? Were you kind of an isolated kid? What were you like back then?
I had a lot of friends, you know. I graduated in '89, and I didn't. It's not like I was just a loner, you know.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with my friends. Didn't start partying until about. Well, I started partying. I had one certain friend on the Indian reservation that I drank with at 14, but I really didn't start partying with my high school friends till about 17.
Okay. So you drank like occasionally, or you drank once with that friend?
No, that friend on the Tulalip Indian Reservation, I went over there as much as I could,
Okay.
and we
Or get plastered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We drank. You know, I was 14, and we would drink gin and tonics and play, 7-card stud and things. So we were gambling and drinking pretty much every weekend.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember what your first drink was like? Do you remember that story, how it felt, anything like that?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved
From the
it
jump.
from the jump.
Did you go overboard first time you drank? Or were you just like perfectly buzzed and it was great the first time?
Oh God, no! I went overboard. I had as much as they would serve me, you know, because we were partying with his parents too. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
You were getting as much as you could.
Well, yeah. I mean, I couldn't get enough.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And sometimes that's how the culture is in like native cultures,
Yeah.
right? It's heavy alcohol use.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it started off a lot of fun, you know, gambling, you know, and we were 14, so we didn't have much money, so the chips were only a nickel a piece, so you get
Yeah.
a whole stack of chips for $1, you know. It was a lot of fun, you know, and I would say I never felt like I had a high self-esteem, you
Yeah.
know. My dad, he really was he was a hard ass, you know. I mean, he didn't put up with anything, any crap at all. So, man, let me tell you, I felt like when I was playing Little League baseball or whatever, I felt like I had to look for his approval to swing a bat. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I felt like, and I'm not saying this is what he meant to do. He was just trying to toughen me up. I'm just saying that's how I felt. I felt like I had a low self-esteem. I was scared to do anything without his approval. I knew I was going to be criticized for everything I did, unless it was
It's never good enough.
never good enough, right? If I pounded a nail down in 3 hits, he would say you should have had that down in 2.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think it's hard when you talk about parents, right? Because you want to. It almost feels like you're complaining or judging them, but that's not it, right? You know that they did everything they did the best they possibly could,
absolutely.
and we're
I
just
couldn't
talking
have said
about how
that
it
better.
affected us, right?
Yes.
And it's our responsibility now to handle that and deal with it and make sure we're better for our kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, like you said, they did the best they could with what they had.
Exactly.
And that's it. You know, and the sooner that I realize that, the more I can grow, I think, you know.
For
'Cause
sure.
for a long time, I guess I held a resentment, you know, for that low self-esteem that I had. But when I took that first drink, man, everything was better.
Yep. You could be the person you wanted to be.
Everything was better. Relaxed, funny, loud, confident, you know.
It's usually a theme in these stories is that first drink made me feel like I was the man or the woman that I was meant to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you said you started partying regularly in high school around 17. So what did that start to look like?
At 17, during high school, you know, I had my little clique of friends. I ended up getting a fake ID at 17 for being 21. It was a real license. The guy looked like me and everything. And so, you know, I was obviously buying the liquor. And
I'm sure that got you a whole lot more friends in high school too.
yeah, a friend in need is a friend indeed. But yeah, so I ended up buying the booze, and you know, we'd go I was smoking weed at that time. I started smoking about 17, I'd say. So I was smoking weed and drinking during school. I wasn't a very good student. My mom damn near had to sleep with the teacher to get me to graduate. But yeah, I did end up graduating. I don't know if it's because the teachers didn't want me back there, or if it was because
Because
my mom
you did
some
just the
good
right
talking.
amount of work.
Something, man. But yeah, so I made it through high school, partying pretty hard, hooking up with several women, every weekend. Me and a couple friends would go out and try to, do the deal.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm sure I hurt a lot of people along the way. I mean, I wasn't a rapist or anything, but I'd go out and hook up with somebody and then never call them again.
Yep.
Probably hurt a lot of people's feelings.
Yeah.
But didn't care, self-absorbed.
It's the root of our troubles, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that gratification, right, makes you feel good.
Absolutely.
Feel good. I get mine.
I
Or
got
substance or whatever, substance, women, actions, and then it's just like, well, on to the next.
Yep.
mine. Yeah.
So how did your youth start to progress after you? So I'm assuming you moved out at 18, right? You said that.
Did.
So how did your youth start to progress? Were you working? How did the addiction start to form? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, what happened was, I got this fake ID, and I went into this strip club, and I met the one.
Nice.
There you go. Met the one.
Need I say more?
Cotton candy and glitter.
Anyway, yeah. So went in there, and I told my friends, I'm marrying that one right there. What do we know at 17 besides nothing?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So we did end up getting married. She's the mother of my 4 kids.
Oh wow.
Are you guys still together?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't know where she is. We were both ended up being pretty hardcore drug addicts,
Yeah.
and that's definitely going to be the downfall of any relationship or your life, or both.
Yeah.
Yeah, romantic or not, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we were together. We got together at 17. She was 21. I lied to her about my age, to get my needs met, and we hooked up, and she ended up finding out the truth because I blurted it out on accident. Couldn't keep my lies straight, and anyway, she forgave me, and we stayed together. Got married 9 days after I turned 20.
Okay. So a
9
few
days
years
after I
you
turned
guys
20.
met. Okay.
Yeah, and then, let's see. So yeah, we were together. The whole time we were together, we would every single day. She'd go stripping. I had a couple of friends from the strip club. The bartender and shit was my friends, and we'd always get a case of beer. I didn't care what we were doing. As long as we got the beer, we were fine.
Yep.
Right? So that's what I started doing, drinking whiskey and beer. She'd go out stripping, and, then came the jealousy,
Yeah, totally.
And anyway, we ended up, so I'm partying this whole time. And see, when I was 26, she got pregnant with my first son, Junior. And let's see, and then Junior was born, and I'm partying the whole time. She was able to quit drinking and using for the first child for the 9 months that she was pregnant. And let's see, and I also suffered from migraine headaches at the time, right? And they gave me a Percocet prescription. So I had a couple bottles of Percocet. And the reason I'm telling you this is because this is where I discovered real hard drugs. This is where took a turn for
This
me.
is what took off.
Yeah.
I had a really, they didn't have, they might have had Imitrex injections back then, but I had these Percocets. Either I didn't have the Imitrex or something happened, and I said, hey, I keep my Percocet in here. I said that to my wife, and I said, where are they? I need them. My head's killing me. And I didn't know what getting high was all about. I knew what weed was and drinking, but I didn't know what
Painkillers.
opiates,
Yeah.
the effect, right? And so she goes, they're gone. And I said, what? I got pissed. What do you mean they're gone? And she goes, yeah, I took them all. And I said, why would you take my, because I didn't understand, right?
Yep.
And she goes, well, when you take some of these, it makes you feel like you're floating on a cloud, right? And she was explaining the getting loaded to me. And I was like, oh, really? Well,
That sounds amazing.
yeah, I was like, how do we get some of those, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't remember how we got some. I think that my wife had a friend. He was a Hell's Angel, so we went over there, and I think he's the one that introduced me to Oxycontin at the time. He had Oxycontin 40s.
Okay.
And I took one of those, and man, did I feel good.
Yeah.
God, do they even make 40s anymore?
I don't think so.
I don't think they make 40s anymore.
Yeah. Well, they might make them now, but they're
So heavily regulated.
but they're different too. They're we were scraping the coatings off and snort. We were not taking them correctly, and they weren't ours to take in the first place.
Yeah.
But I'd say that's when the drug use really took a turn, because as soon as I went over and we got these from Dell, we, all of a sudden, I was an equipment operator then running a bulldozer, and so I went in, I found the doctor, went doctor looking around, found this
Doctor
old guy.
shopping.
Yeah, I went up there into Everett, and I found this doctor, and I started complaining about my back and all this stuff, and I got my own prescription of those Oxycontin 40s, right?
Yep.
And at that time, I had gotten 70 a month. They were gone in a week,
Yeah.
right? I was abusing those right off the bat. I really didn't need them in the first place. I just liked the feeling it gave me. And, yeah, so I got heavily addicted to that.
It's so funny when I hear people talk about like opiates, because like that's not my pain pills. That's not my experience at all when I've ever taken them.
Yeah, some people have really bad, like they are not.
Yeah,
For some
like,
reason, your biology just
when
does
I
not react
when I
well.
take them, it literally just takes the pain away, and like I don't feel anything else. It's just like, because like I remember like playing, and like my last year, the only way I could get through a game was to pop 2 Norcos or Vicodins or Oxys. Or
And they are
Hydro.
prescribed to you, right?
Yes, they were prescribed. But like that, it didn't do anything. I just, and like I remember like somebody telling me, like I hearing about it. I remember like one time I took like 4, like risky, and I just fell asleep, and I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't hurt. Like I woke up and I was like, oh, my knees don't hurt, my hips don't hurt, but like I didn't feel like, I'd smoked weed and I drank before and stuff like that, but like I didn't feel altered with that. So like it's super, like when I hear people talk about like that floating feeling, I'm like,
That was what I experienced. It's like, oh my God, this is how I want to feel all of the time.
All the time.
It's just interesting to see like how different people react to substances. Some people are more sensitive.
Yeah, totally. Well, and I mean, do you have a history of addiction in your family? Do you know?
I guess I didn't know my grandfather, but my mom says I'm just like him.
Okay.
I mean, he picked bad women. He went to opium dens, in the service and stuff. And
Yeah.
so I didn't know him, but yeah, I think there is a history there.
Well, and then you have that history too. So yeah, who knows what?
Yeah. Well, I will say this: the only drug that I ever took or experimented with that gave me that was cocaine. Cocaine was like that. And the only reason I did it, to this day, the only reason I did it was because my mom was addicted to cocaine and crack. And I would hear her talk about it. So like when the option, I was like, I want to see what this is all about. And I remember doing it, and I was like,
Oh, I get it.
oh yeah. And then like we did it all night, and when we finally fell asleep, I remember waking up the next day and I'm like, I want more. Like I want more. And then like that, like I remember I wanted that, and I thought about it for like, I obsessed about it for like an hour. And then I was like, I can never touch this again. I can never do this again.
Interesting.
And like for a week, like I just like thought
About it. And
Did you leave it
about it.
alone after that?
yeah, it was just a one, like I scared the shit out of myself because like that's what like
Good.
both my parents were addicted to. And so like I felt like just great and hyper and like all over the place, and I loved it and I had all this energy. And then like the next day when I crashed, I was just like,
Fiending a little bit.
oh yeah. I was like, oh yeah. And it's like I remember I was like, yeah, I can't.
It's
ever
good you
do
left
this
that
again.
alone.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, yeah.
That's an expensive.
That was my
That is.
addicted to.
He might not.
that
even
was
be
my
sitting
last
here.
yeah that
Oh,
was
yeah.
my last week in college. Like it was graduation week, and it was like all the seniors were
yeah,
partying, and like
interesting.
we had some guys from the team that had graduated this in the December and were coming back to walk. And so like there was a bunch of guys, and some guy was like, yeah, let's do cocaine and let's do this. And I was like, cool, yeah, sure. And I remember sitting in my apartment, there was like 6 of us, and like doing lines of cocaine, and I had no idea what I was doing. And then like I just remember we were all over until like 4:00 in the morning. And then like but they got up, they went out, they did things all day, and I literally just sat in my apartment and just like obsessed. I was like, I wonder if there's any more left out on the table.
I think we can relate to that a little bit.
Yeah,
One
that was like that
nonstop.
one thing. I was just like, ooh. Nothing else has ever done that. Weed, and I was like, alcohol. I lived the rest of my life without it.
That's the worst feeling ever.
But like
John.
cocaine, that was that one thing that grabbed me, for sure.
Oh God, yes. That stuff's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 100%. And like so, like stimulants is like I would say would have been my thing for sure.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so you got that prescription. You're abusing those. You've opened that door to the hard drugs. I don't want to spend too much time on war storying, right, as usual. But kind of, what are some bottoms that stand out in the next? I mean, how long did you use? 20 years?
Oh
30
no,
years?
yeah, it's been 30
years?
or more plus.
So-
yeah, I'm 49 now, so we're talking 14. I started drinking, so
Yeah.
you know.
So, what are some bottoms that stand out? Maybe 2 or 3, including your rock bottom, right? The one that got you to North Point.
Okay.
What are some of those?
Oh,
those hit points.
I've been to detox and inpatients combined 5 times. I've been to 5 detoxes, 3 inpatients.
Okay.
Some of my bottoms along the way were in 2001. I lost my kids to CPS. Took me 2 years to get them back.
Were you still married at the time?
I was married to the mother of my kids. You know, who's a great lady. She's just sick,
Yeah.
and she's not in the picture. And I don't know. We don't know. The kids don't know where she is. Nothing. Today, still today.
Yeah.
So, but losing my kids was a huge bottom. It was a bottom, but once they took my kids, I continued to use for a couple more months, even though feeling terrible about it, but not terrible enough to put my kids in front of my drug use.
Yeah.
Finally, the CPS guy that took my kids came up to me and he goes, "Get your ass in treatment, because I think they only keep your kids, you know, in the picture for like a year, and then they'll put them in a foster or something. You know, I mean, So, you know, at this time, I had bought my second house when I lost my kids, and you know, my use was so much at that time. I was smoking crack then, daily, all day long, neglecting kids, stealing. I was still going to work. I imagine my boss would say I probably wasn't very productive, but I was.
We won't ask him.
Right. but and I ended up losing the job. But yeah, I was doing that, and it was just all bad,
Yeah.
smoking crack and getting the kids taken away, and my life had really taken a turn for the worst.
So did you put together any clean time during those other treatment experiences, those first 4, I guess?
When I was on those OC 40s and they had gotten out of control and I was spending a lot of extra money buying more,
Yep.
I went to Providence detox facility, right? And I was in there for 5 days. They knocked me out. I was pretty much just laid up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got out of there. My mom picked me up from the hospital, and took me out right from there to have a burger and a beer, right?
Yep.
Well, I said, I am so grateful that I am off of these Oxycodone 40 or Oxycontin 40s that I am not going back to that crap. I am strictly going to use psychological drugs, not physical addiction drugs. So I went right to cocaine.
That's addict mentality right there.
That's just stupidity, right? God. And then that's how, I ended up losing my children to CPS, I gave them up to CPS with my addiction.
Mm-hmm.
They did the right thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a bottom for me. It was a miserable time.
Yeah.
And another bottom was I had gotten fired from my job for using, and and so I thought, you know what, I got this neighbor that does he gets IDs and he steals people's information, and he goes to the banks and he withdraws their money and stuff. And I'm going to get involved in that. That way I don't got to go back to work. So to make a long story short, after making IDs at $200 a pop for this person, I ended up getting a felony. I got arrested. I made an ID for my meth dealer at the time, and I put a detective's face on a piece of ID, and he turned me in. And I'm not saying I was a victim because I was up to no good, but I got in trouble for that, and ended up getting a felony, conspiracy to commit bank fraud felony, and then I got a $91,000 restitution for that, which I had to pay back all of it, and I did. So that was another thing. And domestic violence charges and drug charges and theft charges. It's been 35 years of misery. I mean, it started off all great, but it just ends in pure misery.
Yeah. And
all the people's lives around me that, I thought, I'm putting this stuff in my body, I'm affecting me, couldn't see outside myself at all.
Yep.
I affected every single person I came in contact with, and the shit I put my mom and dad through, I can't imagine. My kids, my sisters, everybody, I put them through hell, for years and years and years, and they've always been there trying to help me.
Yeah, you're lucky to have a family like that.
I sure am.
Yeah.
So
what's the bottom that got you to North Point?
Well, my clean date is December 15, 2018. I OD'd in October of 2018. I OD'd dead 9 minutes. I went back to.
You were like 3 minutes shy of being brain dead.
They say, I've watched different things. You know more than I do about this, John. But it could happen. I mean, it could have happened.
Yeah, I think they say like 11 to 12 minutes is when, without oxygen to the brain, is.
Yeah, it was. But, and that time, this last year, I was smoking meth at work, and I was drinking, and I chopped up two fentanyl 30s. I thought they were oxycodone 30s. Chopped up 2 fentanyl 30s, did 1 line of that. I went right down in 6 minutes. It took 6 minutes and I was on my back, not breathing.
Yep.
And I was using with my boss, and he was called 911, thank God, because a lot of people just drag the person out into the hallway and say, I didn't see nothing, and let people die, which is sad, but he didn't. And he just did chest compressions on me, and the aid car came, shot me up with Narcan, zapped me or whatever, and I came back, thank God.
Yeah. Jeez.
And so I would say that right there, and the thought of leaving my kids behind without a mother or a father, that's the last time. My mom showed up one day. I came home from work. This is after that OD.
Well, and you kept using after that, right?
I still kept using.
Yeah. That's to me like the perfect explanation of an addict, right? We can go through something so incredibly traumatic and life-changing, and we just keep doing what we're doing.
Keep
For
it
months.
up. It's crazy. It's insanity.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally.
And so I come home from work one day. I'm a mechanic working on the waterfront. There's no drug testing, so I can just keep using, right? And I come home from work one day. There's my mom in my house, and I'm like, this is what a jerk I was at that time. I was like, what the fuck are you doing here? She was there because she loved me and she was trying to help me. And she said, you're going to go to treatment. You are going to call Donnie. And my dad had already called Donnie, my closest friend, Patrick Mick. He contacted Donnie. My mom, my uncle, everybody was calling him. And Donnie said, he's got to call me himself. And so I called up, I called him up. My dad called me. He said, you better call his ass right now. I just talked to him. And so I was standing at work outside. My dad called me. He said, call him up. And I'm looking out over the Puget Sound outside the shop, loaded, feeling miserable. People are starting to shy away from me. They don't want to be around somebody that's in that state of the game. And I called up Donnie, and I said, Donnie, man, I know I promised you the last time you sent me to inpatient that I wouldn't let you down, but I let you down, and I didn't want to call you because I made a promise to you, and I didn't fulfill it. And Donnie said, that's your fucking ego talking. I just want to help you. I want you to help yourself. And so he hooked me up. He said, let me make a few phone calls. I'll get back to you. And so he called up North Point in Boise and figured it out, figured out all my plans and everything, and I agreed to it. I knew it was time to quit. It's just, to an addict, there's never a good time to quit.
Yeah.
There's always 1,000 reasons not to go to treatment.
I just want to get high one more time, right? And so he flew me out to North Point, Boise. I agreed fully. Yeah.
The rest is history.
The rest is history. It took so many years and so many trial and errors, and it just, I don't know. I wasn't ready till I was ready. The time before this, when I promised Donnie that I wouldn't let him down, I was like, I was doing so good when I got out of Betty Ford, I was doing so good. I was going to meetings, talking at meetings and praying to a higher power. I had a sponsor, wasn't working the steps, but I did have a sponsor at the time. And, after about 7 months of being out of Betty Ford, I was like, here's the deal. For some reason, the second you stop going to meetings, it only takes like a month and a half. If you stop doing the work, and I wasn't doing all the work, I was just doing some of the work. I wasn't working the steps, stop going to meetings, stop praying to a higher power. I just said, I'm just going to jump into work, keep working, and if somebody offers me drugs, I'll just shy away from it. Well, I forgot how miserable it got within 2 months' time, and somebody held up a Adderall 30. I thought, Adderall wasn't my drug of choice. So I did that. Boom. I might as well have just gone down and bought an ounce of dope.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was back on. And so I didn't have it when I got out of Betty Ford. I only have it as long as I'm willing to do the work.
Damn right.
What was your experience at North Point like?
It was a good experience. I went in there. I was screwed up when I went in. I took two 30s before I walked through the front door. I ain't gonna lie, you know. I went into Betty Ford sober.
Most people do.
I wasn't gonna make the mistake of coming into North Point sober. Right? So took them in there. They detoxed me inpatient. And I'll tell you what, man. Yes, I did have a chip on my shoulder coming off of it. I was very...
You were fucking angry.
I was angry, John. That's the bottom line.
You were fucking angry. I remember.
You remember.
I remember. You were angry. You were pissed.
I remember.
Looked at him one day. I was like, what are you so angry about? I was like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I had a chip on my shoulder, negative.
So when did that change? What happened that made that change? Do you remember? Was there a turning point, or was it kind of just slowly kind of accepted that you needed to do this and they were trying to help you?
Yeah, it took about 14 days, I remember, when the turning point was. Okay. I had a chip on my shoulder. Arguing with Mike, tall Mike.
Yeah, the tech.
Mike Fleetwood.
Yeah, I was arguing with Mike over something just completely stupid. It wasn't even about Mike. It was just about my, I haven't fully accepted that, it's time to make a change here. Yep. I mean, I had accepted it, but I hadn't gotten to the point where I'd surrendered all the way.
Yep.
And after that argument with Mike, I mean, he was going to throw my ass out. I was being such a jerk in there, waving my arms like a tough guy and everything. I was just really sick, and I apologized to him. It took me a couple days. My ego was standing in between us. And after that is when I surrendered and just said, okay,
One of the greatest things about Mike Cleaward is that, that man takes a verbal beating from every single patient, but loves every single patient unconditionally.
With all of his heart.
He will... It's so funny because patients will get so mad, especially detox, and they will berate Mike because Mike just stands his ground. All it is your behaviors are not okay. But if we lose a patient, if a patient leaves or walks out the door, that man is in tears, up in the front. He's like, I could have done something more. I could have done something better. And so, though yes, you did berate him, but that man takes it because he understands that sometimes he's just there kind of just guiding you along those processes.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you.
Amazing. So is there anything else that you remember that stood out while you were at North Point?
Yeah. I was ready to listen once I surrendered.
Yep.
You know what it was? He had some car troubles that he was dealing with, and that's the only thing he could focus on while he was there.
So something stupid. I don't.
He had to get his car. His car was about to get towed, and I remember I had to pull him
back here.
Back here in Seattle. He left it, and they couldn't find the keys. They couldn't find the keys, and they were giving him. And so we pulled him in. I pulled him in one day, and we were calling Seattle PD and the tow company and all these things. He's like, John, my car gets towed. It's gonna be $350 a day. And as soon as we got to that taken care of, he was done. I said, now you have nothing to complain about.
John pulled me in the back office, right? Shut the door, and he goes, okay, now let's take a deep breath, calm down here. Now what's going on? And then I explained to him, and I think there was tears coming down. I was so pissed, right? I'm worried, mad, and John he took me down a notch and put it into perspective, and we got it ironed out, and it was good after that.
It was fantastic.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta take care of that little thing.
Go that extra mile, right?
Well,
just make them feel.
I think people come into inpatient, and it's this idea of focus on recovery, which I completely agree with. You gotta leave the shit outside. Mm-hmm. But sometimes we have these obligations and things going on, And like people, until that gets taken care of, you're not going to get through to them at all. Yeah. Legal issues, car troubles, family, financials, rent, mortgage, whatever. And so if it is as simple as like, hey, I need to pull my phone out and I need to make a payment because if I don't, this is going to happen. Let's go get your phone. Let's take care of it. And then I don't want to hear nothing about it. It was, and I learned that mentality when I was working out in the prison. I was dealing with a guy in segregation, and he had covered his window, and we were getting ready to extract him. So all paperwork and all this stuff, and it was just going to be this big, like, 4-hour ordeal. So I go up to his cell, I'm like, what is your deal? He goes, I want an extra fucking blanket. I'm cold. And I go, that's why you covered? He's like, yeah. He's like, dude said I had too many blankets. I want another fucking blanket. I said, so you tell me right now, if I go get you another blanket, you're going to take it down? He goes, yep, you got my word. I'll take it down and give me another blanket. So I went and grabbed another blanket. Gave it to him. Guess what? Took everything down and then went to sleep.
No kid, that's all it took.
That's all it took. But like, same mentality within treatment. Like you get so hyper focused. Like patients get so hyper focused on like these issues, and like the counseling staff, tech, nurses, whomever may look at it and be like, "Listen, dude, like you're in here because of you," and like we use all these things, but like it doesn't change the fact that like when I leave here, I'm gonna have to deal with that. And if I leave treatment and I've got a $5,000 bill because of something I didn't take care of while I was in treatment, right? Mm-hmm. That's probably going to take me back into addiction. So if it is as simple as like, let's call your daughter, because I think we called your daughter, and then we called the PD, and we figured it out, and then they gave us like a 10-day extension because you told me you were in treatment, and he's like, all right, I'm good now. I'm done. I was like, all right, get your ass back in group and chill out, Rusty.
Yeah,
chill.
It was good after that, man. I was really worried about it at the time, you know. Everything, like you said, everything seems way more worse when you're in treatment than it really is. And your brain is in no condition to correct anything or solve anything. You're not thinking clearly.
Yeah.
You know? And so you'd ask me, you know, if anything really stands out in North Point, you know. I understand the way my brain works now. That was huge for me, you know. I was telling somebody that it's like your brain and your mind are in conflict with each other. You know, they're two different separate entities. You know, like for instance, when I was smoking crack, I'd be like, I am not going to the drug dealer's house. I'm gonna stop this crap. I'm not doing it no more. I'm gonna drive past this exit. But my brain goes, bullshit if you are. You're exiting off this exit and you're going to the drug dealer's house is what you're doing. And I'd be like, no, I'm not. You know, I'm gonna keep going off the exit every single time.
Yep.
And identifying when my brain is trying to override what's going on is huge for me. It you know, and that works for anger. I can feel my chest swells up and I get ready to start yelling at somebody. Identifying that before I start letting my, you know, start talking out the side of my neck was huge for me.
Well, being able to identify it and then and then you can use those coping skills that you learn, right? And actually have a chance to practice those and make them, you know, sharpen those tools.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, so what things, so you made it through North Point and now you're coming up on a year sober. So what things helped, what things hindered, what things were necessary for your recovery and are still necessary for your recovery today?
Well,
and what is life like now? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, when I signed up, I was ready. I didn't want to go back to the misery, so I was ready to do whatever North Point told me to do at that point. And so they said, number one, before you walk out of the facility, you should sign up and get that Vivitrol shot. That's going to help protect you. It's not going to solve all your problems, but it's going to help protect you from use for 30 days anyways, right? So I signed up for that. And then they also told me in there, they said, you're going to have a 60% chance of staying sober if you sign up for PHP after this. You're going to have a 60% better chance of staying sober. I said, sign me up. You know, that's what I'm going to do. So 2 days after I left Boise, I went into North Point Evergreen, and I said, you know, and the reason I signed up there instead of somewhere closer is because I knew Dr. Bates was going to be there, and I just was going to continue with the same program. I don't like change. But so I went into the Evergreen. They told me I had a 60% chance of staying sober, better. So I signed up for that, did PHP, which was I think it was 7 hours a day, 5 days a week or something. And then I just stayed in there, did what they told me to do. And they told me, I did that for 3 months. Then they said, do IOP, then OP, then continuing care.
And you just graduated from outpatient, didn't you?
Yeah, Thursday.
Hell yeah.
From continuing care.
That's a big deal. Not a lot of people can make it all the way through those levels of care.
No, I did a textbook. And also, they said, you need to go to at least 3 meetings a week. So I was seeing a therapist on Tuesdays, a regular therapist outside my therapist at North Point. And then going to 3 meetings a week, and I'm being of service. In fact, I just volunteered at the chili cook-off at my home group.
Nice.
And, and I'm in here.
You do the alumni meetings?
I try to. I got on the stevedore board, so I make less money. So now I got to work on Saturday and Sunday. But yeah, it was.
You come to the alumni events, get the crap scared out of you,
do.
laugh at me and John screaming like little girls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
I just love the hands. He would do this every time.
Soon as every time I heard John yell, I knew that I was going to be scared. Oh,
Yeah.
Here it comes. When's it coming?
I like that I was behind John because he took the brunt of it all, and I just hid behind him. Nobody saw me the whole time.
Yeah, I know. That's where I wanted to be,
Listen,
too.
I don't like scary stuff.
You're in the back. They got you coming up in the back.
Oh, man, that's scary.
The worst part ever was walking through that mist, that green light mist, and you had to walk through those
Those
the
bags.
guys on the stilts
Yeah.
out of the fog. It looked like a swamp.
And then you had to walk
lasers
through
and
that
fog.
big, and then you had to walk through those big bags, and I was like, okay, I started panicking. I was like, okay, I don't like this. I got Cooper behind me, I've got Alex in front of me, and I was like, I want to run. I've got things pressing on me. I was like, I don't like it. And then I heard chainsaws. It was just, I'm good.
It was a lot of fun, man.
It was good. It was fun time. It was good seeing people.
It was. It's good to stay connected, and that's another thing I want to talk about North Point too. Is when you get through all this stuff, or get through the inpatient and do the stuff, they keep everybody together, connected, and we do things once a month as a group, as an alumni group, and it's you guys and Tucker, sweet job, man. I love it. I look forward to it.
Good.
And that's something that North Point does that I have not experienced at any other
Good
treatment center.
We know it's important, right? That community.
Yeah, it's not like you're abandoned once you get out, North Point keeps everybody connected and making sure they're checking on them all the time. We got a North Point web page and everything.
The app and the Facebook
The app,
page,
yeah. I love it. Yeah. Then this is the first clean and sober 10 months of recovery and doing the deal that I have ever had in 35 years or however long it's been, So it's working.
That's amazing, dude.
Hell yeah.
I can't wait for your year.
Yeah,
You better make a big deal out of that.
I am.
Good.
Come down and speak at the alumni down in Boise.
Yeah, make a trip down.
I got to tell you, this facility's very nice here in Edmonds, but my heart is in Boise.
Yeah.
I loved it there.
Yeah, dude, come down. We'll get you speaking. We'll make you speak on a Wednesday night if we can, or if you only can come down for a weekend. I'm sure John can finagle
I'll
some
figure
things.
something out. I'd love for you to come share your story, man.
Sure, I'd love to.
All right,
Yeah.
sir. Well, so is there anything before we get out of here? Anything you want to say to somebody that might be listening, that might be struggling, might have a family member that's struggling, might not quite understand addiction? Anything that you want to leave us with?
A lot of people struggle with addiction, and just because your family is around your addiction and watching you in addiction doesn't mean they understand addiction. That's huge. They think they know because they're watching you deal with it, but families clearly don't. A lot of families, I'm not saying all, but the most clearly don't understand what addiction means and everything. And I would say there's so many variables. Don't enable somebody that's using. This is to the family members. Don't enable somebody that by giving them money. You just got to be there to love them when they're ready. And, you know, treatment saved my life. And I was ready to accept that information. And I hope that my story can help somebody else want to get sober, because it's made a huge impact on my life and my kids' life and everyone that's around me. And it's amazing. And I'm really grateful for this. So grateful for North Point.
Thank you, sir. John?
Thank you.
Anything you want to say?
This guy's so much calmer now.
I love you guys.
Man, Rusty, man, it was so great seeing you last night. Because, yeah, when Rusty came in, he was pissed, like most people. It wasn't like it was something new, but, like, people come in and they're angry and they're pissed off and they're upset and they're confused and they don't understand what's going on. Got some paranoia sprinkled in there, so that doesn't help at all. But, you know, I love hearing Rusty's story because it's like, I just did what was recommended. Mm-hmm. Like, that is, if anything, we try to teach. And I tell people all the time, this isn't fucking difficult. This isn't hard.
Nope.
It's not hard to follow a recommendation, a pure motivation. That's all it is. And so I tell patients all the time, I can tell you exactly what you can do to stay sober. I can tell you, I can lay out every single variable and every single resource. And if you do it and you do it correctly, you'll stay sober.
Period, John.
Period. The problem is if you fucking try to walk off on your own path, right? Here's this path I've laid for you, and you go like, oh yeah. Oh wait, I like this way. I'm gonna take this little shortcut to try to get where I'm going, and it never works. It just never works. And so like when I hear people come in, like, and I hear Rusty's story, and he's like, listen, got there, finally surrendered. What you want me to do, PHP? Screw it, I'm gonna do it. Oh, you want me to do IOP? Screw it, I'm going to do it. You want me to do continuing care and outpatient? Cool, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to meetings. I'm going to get a sponsor. I'm going to work the 12 steps. I'm going to do the Vivitrol shot. I'm going to do all these things they recommended. And holy shit, lo and behold, Rusty's still sober.
That's right. If you just do what they recommend, everyone can make it. If you're willing to do the work, everyone can make it. If you got any fight left in you at all and you're trying to fight the program, you're going to fail at it.
90% of the time.
90% of the time. Or if you're not going to do this or not going to do that. I've went through the times where I've negotiated with my sponsor. I'm going to do the steps. I'm just not doing 4, 5, and 9. I'll do them all. No problem.
And what did your sponsor say?
The next time I called him when I was in another inpatient, we talked about it.
Yeah. But so it's cool to hear that story and to see the success, and then coming up on, being clean for a year. I mean, like that's what works. And so it's really heartening to see you doing well, Rusty, and you're having fun, and I hope the kids are doing really well. And yeah, looks like you're rocking it, brother.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
You guys keep doing what you're doing too, man. Keeping us all plugged in. I love it.
Well, and I was gonna say, yeah, when we were talking about doing this episode or these episodes up here in Washington, I was like, we got to get Rusty on here because he's involved as he possibly can be. He's doing the deal. He's just that solid classic. I'm gonna do the work, and you continually do it. You don't just you don't even talk the talk. You just walk the walk. You just do it, man. So thank you again so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here, sit down with us and share your story and hopefully help somebody else. Blessed to know you, and I'm excited to start coming up here more often and seeing you more often at all the alumni events.
For sure.
Me too. Thanks for the opportunity.
Of course. Guys, make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, that share button. Get Rusty's story out there. It's all about sharing the miracles of recovery with people that might need to hear them so that they know they can do it themselves if they do the work also. Any last words besides peace after I say welcome to Oiber North? No? All right. Well, this has been No Oiber North. We're talking about the miracles of recovery and the tools used to achieve them.
Peace.
Peace.
If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, please call 208-999-4064. The views and opinions expressed in No Way But North do not reflect those of North Point Recovery or any other institution or organization.